they never have to do that.
Well, if you set that clock at bar time, we'd already have the meeting going.
Yeah. It doesn't keep up.
Now I have 9 o'clock, I'll call the meeting order.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'll talk later about agenda items.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. John, you get to start us off.
Oh, excellent. Just the normal things still working on, wrapping up patching and the bridge approach this week with the contractor that kind of waited all summer on, so get that wrapped up. Other than that, working on policies and budgets and projects, I guess, for next summer. We have a resolution, got FEMA all finished from the tornado. I just need to get that resolution submitted to get payment now, so.
Any major equipment breakdowns or anything we've got to spend money on?
Yeah, we've had, our cat excavator's been down.
Is that the one sitting up front there?
Yeah.
With no track?
We had some undercarriage work we had to do, and we were gonna send it off, and it's supposed to be real quick, and then it got back ordered or something, so yeah, it's been sitting for a while. Then the other excavator has some damage on it. I want looked at it, I guess, before we use it more. But
Okay.
If it's something you look at getting replaced, maybe talk with Tyler at the landfill, because the landfill's looking at getting,
An excavator.
so it may be something where secondary roads can sell it to the landfill and get its fire replacement.
Something better, yeah. Because they don't use theirs as much up there.
yeah, I kinda wanted to get something on the wheels, just so we don't have to have a truck and
Yeah.
everything.
We used to have one of them. Remember that?
Yeah, that was, they used to use the great alls, and those were pretty much just for roads. But there's an excavator on wheels now,
Okay.
it's pretty darn
That
neat.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, then maybe use brush equipment on that.
Okay,
I'll come to ask you guys for money here soon, I guess.
we can tell you though.
If you get a new excavator, remember you and I talked about the ditch bucket, what you call the ditch bucket?
Yeah.
Can we get a ditch bucket so we don't have to have that long fingers?
Is that the wider ones?
They're wider and they're smooth, so when
Yeah.
it cuts, I kinda like the one with teeth because it roughs it up, and so seating's maybe better, but the smooth ones
Yeah.
probably,
That used to be on the wheeled one that way.
Yeah.
Had the ditch bucket on it.
yeah, that's pretty much all those, that equipment did, I guess.
Okay, we have this resolution, I'll go ahead and read it. Resolution 7/1025 SR, whereas all Harrison County Secondary Roads Department requests to use Harrison County UEI number. This allows the Harrison County Secondary Roads Department to file any FEMA-related documents with the Department of Homeland Security. Whereas the Harrison County Board of Supervisors approves the use of the UEI number, and it lists the number, and assumes all risk involved. Now therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Harrison County, Iowa, on the 16th day of October 2025, approve the use of the UEI number and assumes all risk involved for the Harrison County secondary roads.
Was that the motion?
No, I just wanted to read it out loud before.
I want to discuss, but I'll move to approve, and then we can discuss.
Second.
Okay.
UEI, is that different than the Dun and Bradstreet or that? I mean,
The unique
how's it
entity
different
identifier,
for the government?
yes.
Okay, it's a government, you're not like that Dun,
It's not the Dun and Bradstreet.
yeah, okay, all right.
And this is just for secondary roads. This is not for the drainage
Just
district.
to correct, yeah.
Okay.
All right, we have the motion in a second. This is a roll call vote. Tony,
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. We'll have to sign it.
Want to give this to Megan?
John.
John, okay.
had his hand up.
Yeah, okay.
Next we have Brock.
I've been in here in a while.
Is that a good, that's a good thing,
It's a
isn't
good
it?
thing,
I
yeah.
think so. So I got the 2025 weed commissioners report. It kind of goes over what weeds we have in the county. The state needs it signed and submitted to them by December 1st. It goes over, if you want to look at it,
Do you have the weeds in here? Okay.
it goes over like the calls and stuff that I got. It was a pretty mild year, I think, about 8 calls. 1 was private property, 4 on county right of way, and then 3 were just questioning problematic weeds and stuff. Other than that, I think it was pretty good. I didn't see much change in, there's a question on there, they asked about changes in your reports between the years. I didn't really notice much, it's my first year. Other than that, I think we were doing all right with noxious weeds. People are reporting them at the very least, so.
Is that Palmer Amaranth, is that still by Magnolia, is that one that site is at?
The first spot was in Moda.
I
Okay.
haven't got a report on that. If I was made aware of that, it'd be nice, cause that's a class A
Mhm.
weed, so we need to eradicate that.
Now, they pulled Shattercane off last year. Can we add stuff to the county list?
I think so. So when I went to the weed commissioners, conference in March, I talked to the state entomologist with Idolls. He recommended using the, revised list that they put out in 2019. That does not include Shattercane, but, he recommended that just because if you use the old list, it makes my job harder and then everybody else, like, there's a wide variety of things that I would have to enforce, and then that just becomes a mess for other people too. There's other counties that I've had people contact me about, just wondering like the difference between what they do and what we do, and they don't quite understand why they still use the old list and why we're onto a new list.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind adding Shattercane to it.
We've been fighting it big time this year, yeah. It just spreads so easy.
It does.
So by adding it,
We would have to have an agenda item to
Yeah.
add it, I believe.
but what
Maybe
does
you
that
can
do
check
as
in
far as
with-
for Brock?
When I present the noxious weed list in this next March, then I would have to have it on there to be enforceable.
So then when you said you had to contact 4 more on private property?
I had 4 county right of way, 1 private property.
One private property, okay. So then you just warn them or ask them to?
Yeah, it's verbal, you have to verbally talk to them first, and then if they don't do anything about it in 14 days, you have to mail them an official letter. And then if they don't do anything, then it goes to me and I have to contract it out, and then I believe that goes to their property taxes.
But did they take care of it?
Yeah, yep,
Okay, wasn't a problem?
no.
Most people are,
Did you keep a copy of that letter?
okay,
I'd like to get a copy of that, Ms. Brock, just email it.
That there?
Just the list, yeah.
there's a couple that aren't answered, is that?
It doesn't, they don't apply to us.
Okay.
I talked to Thad about it too, just to get his kind of insight on it from previous years, and he said there's things on there that don't apply to us, we don't have programs for it, so.
Okay, on this one, on how much you spent on pesticide or herbicides?
Yeah, we don't, I didn't order anything for weed commissioner stuff specifically.
Okay. I wouldn't mind having a copy of that, please.
I'll move to approve the 2025 Weed Commissioners Report.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need to sign this as
You have the back page.
There's that. Now our next item is to appoint Brock as the 2026 weed commissioner.
Make a motion to approve Brock Leaders as the 2026 weed commissioner.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You like, if you wanna do this one.
The next one, yeah, I'm gonna have to meet this lady, she must have a hell of a business.
Except I think we misspelled it.
Did they?
I
Okay.
think, does your mom work
Yeah, he did.
as a dentist, in a dentist office?
Yeah, in Council Bluffs,
Yeah.
Children's Dentistry.
My kids went there.
Yeah,
My wife got to
Really?
meet your mom.
thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
I'll move to approve the Lucky White Wine Slushy liquor license.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in
It's about
favor?
15.
Aye.
She said it's the last one.
Is it? Okay.
Motion carries.
We've had that a dozen times.
Then we have the handwritten warrant for US Bank.
Yeah, I looked them over, I know you haven't had a chance to. approve
I
them
just,
yet.
I added. before
Oh, you did, okay.
came.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the handwritten warrant for US Bank, in the amount of $9,886.14.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You guys have updates? I know you had something, Rebecca, you want to talk about?
I'm gonna wait till after public comment.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I had the SWIPCO annual meeting, that was very good. A lot of people there, a lot of congressional reps there. And that place has really grown, they're pretty major. And it's the largest rural transportation company pretty much in the area, and state for sure, so do a great job.
That brings up, on the list of, the boards and things that we have to appoint. I'm glad you're here, because, Southwest Iowa Planning Council has Sherm Strubel on a one-year term that ends December 31st of 2025. I talked to him the other night, and he said he seemed to think the city appoints him, not us.
That's true. Any city over a certain population gets to have a seat on the board. Glenwood's in there, Harlan's in there, Moe Valley's in there.
Okay,
And then we have county reps as well.
okay, so it's not,
Yeah.
it's not something we have to worry about.
Nope.
All right. I asked about the District 4 meeting, are you going, do you know if you're going?
No, I won't be going. We'll be in the field, I hope.
It's in December.
Oh, December? I might go then. Let me think about that. December 4th, right?
I can't remember the date.
What?
Oh, December
11th? I think I have my
11th.
calendar.
Do you
That's
go,
down at
Megan?
Creston?
Yeah, it's at Crystal.
If I have to.
If you have to.
I see, was it Brian who's sending something out?
Maggie, I believe, is in charge.
Maggie?
All right. And then, I had one other, just a question, wondered how Megan's coming on the hiring someone for the courthouse cleaning,
I've made 2 offers.
okay? And. I think that's it.
I've got it on my calendar, really quick. Just read this.
Do any of the electeds have anything? Sheila? You got anything for us?
Nope.
All right, we'll go to public comment now. The board will now allow up to 30 minutes for comments from the public. The board will call speakers in the order in which they have signed up on the form provided. Each speaker is limited to no more than 3 minutes for speaking and must first state his or her name for the record. Comments should be directed to the board as a whole and should refrain from personal attacks or from addressing individual employees or citizens. Comments should also be limited to one topic. Detailed information about the public comment policy is available upon request. First, we have Brad.
Good morning, Brad Doyle. First, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for taking my call yesterday. I called the courthouse Tuesday and asked to be placed on the agenda for Thursday's board meeting. After some brief information gathering, I was told, okay, you're on the agenda. At 11:37, I received a call from the Harrison County Attorney asking whether or not my agenda item was an actionable or a discussion item. I indicated it was probably a discussion item, but would leave it up to the board. We discussed briefly and the call ended. How did the county attorney get my work phone number? I would like to know who called the county attorney after I made my request to be on the agenda. I checked the agenda Wednesday and found I was not on it. Most recently, I was on the agenda. I had called and asked to be placed on the agenda, and when asked about my topic, I said to report on the information requested by Supervisor Smith. I never received a call from the county attorney wondering if it was an action item or a discussion item. After speaking with the Ombudsman's Office and the Iowa Public Information Office, I would like to know the following. Does every agenda item have to be clear through the county attorney's office? Does every person seeking to be on the agenda need to be approved by the county attorney? Does the county attorney call everyone who is seeking to be on the agenda and ask them if it is an actionable item or a discussion item? As a taxpayer of Harrison County, I not only have the right, but the duty to ask questions of the people elected to represent us in a public meeting and on the record. Thank you.
Okay. Do we want to discuss any of that, or do we want to move to the next person?
Well, I mean, I had some of the same questions, I didn't know what happened there either.
Yeah, I've been reaching out to other boards. I talked to both Fox yesterday, I talked to Brian Shea in Fox County yesterday, trying to figure out how we go about putting agenda items on. Monona County, it's completely the chairman. Pot County, it's any board member, but neither county allows the public to put agenda items on the agenda. I've discussed a little bit with Sarah as far as, do we come up with a policy that says this is the process of putting agenda items on? Because I think that any three of us should be able to put agenda items on. The
agree
public,
with
I think, to
that.
keep an efficient meeting running, we have to police that in a way.
Mhm.
We run the
I disagree.
potential
Yeah.
of having an 8-hour meeting. If
No, we
enough
don't.
people in the county want it on the agenda, it's one meeting.
We've always let people, why all of a sudden are we saying, I don't care what Pot County does, I don't care what Monona County does. We have always let people be on the agenda. Why all of a sudden are we telling people they can't be on the agenda?
To keep an efficient, we're here to conduct business.
But people's concerns are.
But hold on.
I understand, I guess I've always left it up to the chairman, that's my experience here. If one of us requested, the chairman would normally put that on there. All of a sudden, we had this thing where a number of people had to request it first, you know, had to have 2 people request it or whatever, but I was, this one here kind of, I didn't know the answer why that happened. And so I thought I'd wait until I got here. If people want to bring business to the county that has to do with county business, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's my opinion.
Right. Sarah, do you want to weigh in at all on this?
Can I weigh in before you?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, this is what I was gonna say anyway, and I typed it out. As supervisors, our primary responsibility is to conduct the business of the people who have entrusted us with that role. This responsibility includes conducting public business with integrity and openness. The public has an inherent right to communicate their concerns, questions, and grievances directly to us without any form of filtering or obstruction. Our duty is to advocate and protect the interests of the county, regardless of whether the issues raised are difficult or unpopular. Allowing citizens to voice their opinions and bring grievances before the supervisors is fundamental to maintaining a transparent and accountable Board of Supervisors. It's the clerk's responsibility to register all agenda requests submitted by citizens. If there is a need to remove an item from the agenda, such a decision should be made collectively by the board at the beginning of the meeting. The clerk does not have the authority to independently remove any agenda item, especially those submitted by individual supervisors. This process ensures that all matters are considered openly with transparency and due consideration. Relying on one elected official as a justification for removing agenda items is a practice that needs to stop. Such actions compromise the principle of openness and honest governance. Maintaining transparency requires that all agenda items modifications be openly discussed by us in front of the public, discussed and decided by the board, rather than unilaterally by a clerk or another elected official. In other words, if I put an item on the agenda, how would you feel if you put an item on the agenda and I went in there and told the clerk to take it off? Because that has happened. Or if a citizen wants an item on the agenda and another elected official doesn't want it, and they go in and take it off. Silencing the voice of the public by withholding and filtering their input undermines transparency and accountability. Implementing policies that restrict public participation simply because the subject matter is uncomfortable or unwelcome does not serve the public interest. Instead, it's imperative that we create an environment where citizens feel empowered to express their views and bring forth matters of concern, ensuring that we remain responsive to the needs of our county. Transparency and public participation are essential pillars of effective government. We must ensure that the voices of the citizens are heard and that government processes remain open and accountable.
Well, I'm not quite so eloquent with that, but I'm kind of the same thought though. That, of course, I'm coming from 6 years ago, chairman ran all that stuff. I don't have a problem, but we always were able to put whatever we wanted on too. Unless it could be proved otherwise, that would be detrimental.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with board members putting stuff on it. The public, if we allow everybody from the public to start putting things on the agenda, it could get messy.
My recommendation to the chairman wasn't to regulate speech. It was merely to put general grievances in the public comment segment. If you're putting general grievances on your agenda and you're not giving notice to the person that is being aggrieved, that person may not be at the meeting, that person may not be able to respond, that person's reputation may come into a public meeting. So if a person has a general grievance and they bring it up in public comment and the board wants to extrapolate on it, by all means, put that as an agenda item the next week, give the person notice, and then allow the grievance to be taken care of in a due process manner.
Not all agenda items are grievances. Sometimes people just have a question, and if we did, like I requested a few weeks ago, and we make it broad, it doesn't have to put the person's name out there. And then at our board meeting, at the beginning of the board meeting, like I said, we can scratch the item off and say, we're not gonna talk about this week. We're gonna talk about it, we'll put it on the agenda in the future. And also, the supervisors can talk to the person. One supervisor can talk to the person that puts the agenda item on and say, you know, you can talk to him and say, hey, what's this about, whatever, but it needs to be on the agenda. And like I said, not everything is grievances. And the problem with not putting things on the agenda, and we've been told to just go to that department. Well, then nothing ever gets done about it. Sometimes, I mean, it does. I shouldn't say never. Things don't get done because it wasn't put out in the public.
So per Sarah's recommendation, if we want to put Brad on the agenda next week, we can do that as a collective decision from the board.
We can. But the other thing that we have.
He's made his issue here in public comment, so if it's something we want to discuss next week, we can put that on the agenda for next week, if we as a board so choose to. I thought yesterday I answered Brad's question, and that's the other thing, is we're accessible throughout the week.
Right.
People have our phone numbers. Brad and I had a conversation, a great conversation yesterday on the phone.
Mhm.
But the problem, and Brad called me too, but the problem with that is it doesn't get put in public. The public doesn't get to hear what he wanted to say. You talk to you, I can't call you up, we can't have a conversation.
Brad can be heard during public comment. The public is here, public comment is recorded on the minutes. There's no one stifling his freedom of speech. He's not
But
muted.
we-
He has his ability here. He has 3 minutes.
But we can't, anytime they don't want to answer the questions, when it's in public comment, they say, we've said in the past, this is public comment. This is public comment, we're not answering those questions. And they have 3 minutes, and they're told they have 3 minutes, and they can only talk about one thing. So
I definitely understand your point. I'm kind of from that same point of view. I guess I don't want public comment to us, people think it's going nowhere. I think we collectively need to share the calls we've had for the week and decide if we need to discuss something at the next meeting. Absolutely, I think we should do that. I am a little leery of the guy that comes in and says, I want to talk about something that has to do with county engineer, whatever, you know. County engineer should present that to us, that person should reach out to us. And if we think it's that major a deal, then we should schedule it for a meeting. I guess, I see it both ways, but I don't want to stifle that conversation either. But,
it appears, it makes it appear that we're trying to hide things if we don't put it on the agenda. And that's something we need to avoid.
I agree with that, but I also, there's some things that always come up in public comment that we can do nothing about. But they deserve to be heard. And if we think it's important enough, we should put it on the agenda. Because it's a little different thought for me, because the chairman's handled that. I would submit to the chairman what I wanted to visit about, and, you know, and I agree it should be the chairman's decision what goes on the agenda. I mean,
I
Why?
think it could be any of the.
well, I mean,
I was gonna say-
we all can submit stuff, but you publish the agenda. You put it together
The clerk puts it.
at your direction.
Not really.
Well, then-
No,
then
I
she's
call
deciding.
I call in every Tuesday and we go.
And I've done nothing against Megan deciding, I just,
I don't think that the clerk is deciding. I think that what happened with Brad is that general parameters were being established. If a person calls and they have a general grievance, then the auditor's office knows, I need to reach out to the chairman and I need to vet this through the chairman to figure out if it's going on the agenda. Like, at no point is any person other than the board using their discretion to axe agenda items. It's truly just vetting. What do you want to be on the agenda? Is there some specificity? And now that you've discovered that, perhaps there's a conversation that needs to occur between the clerk and the chairperson, and they need to make a decision. I reached out to the AG's office and asked them what their thoughts were. And they said globally that general grievances are appropriate for public comment, that they are not agenda items unless they evolve to be one.
But my understanding from my conversation with him was what he wanted on the agenda. First off, who took it off?
Brian did.
It was I
Okay,
had the final decision on that.
so you did take it off. My understanding was that it was a question on what we are doing according to the law that's on the books of, we have to have some type of electronic meeting, either a Zoom, a teleconference, that type of thing. So why was that taken
For
off?
board
That was-
members.
That's not what was told to my office, though. I want that clear.
The
What was
question
asked
Brad
in my
asked me is,
office,
what is our means for hybrid meetings? So if a board member is unable to attend, how can that board member attend the meeting? What means do we provide? And the answer is telephone.
Oh, yeah,
We've
for-
called into
for
meetings,
members, yeah.
yes.
Okay, so why is that a problem on the agenda?
because that's not what was asked to be on the agenda. The question was to discuss chapter 21 changes. That's very vague, and anytime it includes anything to do with a code section, I'm immediately going to talk to the county attorney and say, is there something that I need to be aware of?
I think we all.
So
need to
that
be-
is why we ask the person to be
Yeah.
specific, so that we can put it on that way. Chapter 21 is vague.
I think what's
Okay, so-
important about this, and Brad, you discovered this, and so this needs to be forwarded to us for just to review, and then to determine amongst ourselves if we want to.
That's last year's amendments from
Right.
2024, it's an advisory. I offered to speak with Mr. Doyle in length about it. He did not want to have a conversation. I provided him a copy of that. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the law.
I was gonna say, I would be handing this right back to you to review, because I haven't read this chapter 21, I'll be quite honest.
And that's why the
Well-
county attorney was involved.
Yeah.
If you ask a question about Iowa code, it only makes sense to send that to the county attorney.
Well, I would like to
No,
read it too. yeah.
It's our job. I read the code. When he called me, I read the code, and I talked to him later and gave him the answer. It was a simple answer. The simple answer was, that says that you have to have some form of electronic access for the governmental body. That means that we have to be able to call in, or
Right.
Zoom, or teleconference.
But that doesn't need to be an agenda item. In no way does that look like we're hiding anything.
No, we've always done, I've called into meetings, we've always.
Yeah, and that brings up the point that I tried to call in the week that I wasn't here. And I tried to call in, and I was told that the phone in here was busy. I was 10 minutes away, I was running late from that conference. I tried to call in, and I was told, there's somebody on the line, you can't call in. So we just broke the law. By not allowing me
It's
to
not
call in.
required at all meetings, there, it's just at the majority of them. So that's the advisory discussion on it. So no, there's not been any law that's been broken. My thought is that, I mean, if it is such a simplistic question that can be answered by the county attorney, that can be answered by a board member, why are we placing this on the agenda? Why has this become such a giant discussion at the meeting in general? It seems to me that it's really not a First Amendment issue, it's,
Are any of my 3 minutes remaining? Because I don't believe I took my full 3 minutes.
I don't believe you got your questions answered either.
I asked 4 specific questions that have not been answered in my presentation. My call to Megan's office was not relayed to her accurately, and so that may be a miscommunication between the woman that answered the phone and what she told you, because my question specifically was, what form of hybrid meeting did you guys adopt for the Board of Supervisors to be able to participate if they're not able to be here? That was my question.
Right.
And that was also relayed to you in the phone call.
that was not relayed to me in the phone call. What was relayed to me in the phone call was that you wanted the topic changes to chapter 21.
No, that is incorrect.
And I asked you if you would be specific, and you clarified and told me that your question was not to me, it was to the board, and that you were not gonna provide any specificity.
Your-
I then asked you if it was an action item or a discussion item, and you said, what does it matter? And I said that it would matter to be considered for the agenda, and then at that point you relented and you said it was a discussion item.
That was not the conversation that we had. You did ask me whether it was a discussion item or an action item. I said that it would be up to the Board of Supervisors to determine whether it was a discussion or action item. We did discuss further, and I did find, well, I think it's probably a discussion item. And you said, thank you, I said, thank you, and that was the end of the conversation. But I'm not gonna say much more. I called to find out what the hybrid method was. I want it on public record so that the other people in the county can know as well. Because it has been different reactions by this courthouse that has caused me to have to go and look at the audit, which I found some things in there other than what my question was. I have looked at other documents. I had already looked at chapter 21 and saw those revisions. That's what caused me to ask the question of whether or not you had adopted a hybrid form of attendance, because I wasn't aware. And so I thought I'd ask the people that knew, and I wanted it on the record so other people would know. That was my intent, not to turn this into what it's become. Just like virtually every question I've asked has turned into something more than what was the intent. So thank you for your time and
Let me answer the
consideration.
question specifically, how the hybrid came about. Hybrid came about during COVID. And the state directed that we could do hybrid meetings. And we were always wondering if the state would remove that. They never did. We followed that guidance, and so that's how we became hybrid. Up until that point, we couldn't do it.
Right, and I agree with you. I just wanted to know because you're offered 3 or 4 options. And in my
Yeah.
information search for you, we were wondering why Pottawatomie County had all these different things. I think it was in reaction to that, but that explains why Pot County has 4 ways for the public to participate.
Right.
And that's all. These have all been pretty straightforward questions.
Yeah, and I've been to many Pot County meetings, and We don't have the resources they have, number one.
Understand, I totally
We've
understand.
always- Since COVID, you can call in and participate in meetings.
And now I
That's when
know,
we did it.
and now I know, thank you.
Okay.
And back to Sarah's point of, it shouldn't have turned into this. Is this as simple as if you'd have put that item on the agenda, it would have taken us, what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, to answer his question, and we would have been done.
We spent 20 minutes on it
Yeah.
so far.
But actually, the simple answer in this particular case, and thanks for calling me yesterday, I should have had the answer for you at that time. You know, I didn't truly understand the chapter 21 and what it was about, and so I could have answered that at the time, I would have had more knowledge.
I appreciate that, thank you.
But it wouldn't have taken near as much time if we'd have just put it on the agenda, answered his question, and been done with it.
We would have had the same discussion, I think, though. I really do, and this was
Right.
good, I'm
But
not saying
now
it's
we
bad.
had to have this discussion, and I don't think any of us are trying to cause problems, it's just let the people speak.
Yeah,
But they have
Hold
time
on.
to speak. So I signed up so I can talk.
Yeah.
You'll talk when we get to you. Sorry, we have to keep everybody here in line. Is this you?
Kevin Taylor, that's me.
All right, now,
You get this here.
you got 3 minutes.
I don't think it needed to be agenda item because he could have come in here and voiced his concerns. You're just gonna clutter up the agenda with everybody's questions. They have their time to speak. No disrespect to you, sir, but everybody has their time to speak. Even at city council, we give them time to speak. So, I just don't think it should be on the agenda. If you have questions, you have your time to come in and ask. Why I went to a lawyer, that's up to them.
Is that everything you had for us?
Oh, no, I'm sure there's other people putting stuff up, and I'll comment on that.
You can't, you gotta comment
Well, I
now.
can still comment.
You got 2 minutes
That's
left.
part of my first number.
All right, next we have Lori White.
Hi, I'm Lori White. Kevin, to address your statement, this actually, it goes a lot deeper. Last week you guys had a meeting, the same group of folks, and there was a recording about, something that was put on the agenda, and it was the specific thing we're talking about that had nothing to do with chapter 21. But it did have to do with, the audit that was done by the state of Iowa that was released September 15th, 2025. So I did do an open records request with you, Rebecca, and you were able to provide that information to me. I appreciate that. I have 3 items, I'm limited to 1, so I will stick with the state of Iowa audit. So my ask is that the findings that were on here are put on the agenda on a consistent and ongoing basis, because out of the 9 findings, 5 of them were acknowledged but not accepted by the auditor. So there's 2 classes. They accept it, meaning they're okay with the responses, and there's one that says we acknowledge what you say you're doing, but it's not good enough. In addition to them accepting that, this specifically has to do, the audit has to do with receipt and expenditure of taxpayer funds. The issues that were addressed are lack of segregation of duties, material amounts of receivables not properly recorded in the county's financial statements, advanced pay of salaried employees, lack of independent review of the monthly bank-to-book reconciliation, and disbursements exceeding budget amounts. So the county was provided with recommendations to address each of these findings. 13 of those findings that were discussed are a repeat from the previous year. So, in the same vein of transparency to the public, this is taxpayer funds that we're talking about, and it needs to be something that is addressed on an ongoing basis, that is being specifically, here are the 5 items that were acknowledged, here's what we're doing. As I said, there were recommendations provided. We're talking about the jail bond account bank reconciliation, receipts not being provided and matching up with what's being spent, segregation of duties. These things are pretty serious, and you know, I applaud them for getting the things done that were accepted, but there's a lot of things here that, especially because they are ongoing, need to be addressed publicly. We need to have some accountability. We need to know where are you with this, so that next year, we're not looking at a second year of recidivist findings, meaning repeat findings. So I would like to see that on the agenda. You're welcome, thank you.
And we are going to put that audit on the
Yeah,
agenda.
we-
late
Not the
October
audit,
Or
the
November.
findings.
The whole yeah.
Yeah, we
Everything
do-
will
we
be
do-
talked about in a meeting, publicly for everyone.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say, a lot of that segregation of duties is, you've gotta hire more people if you wanna do that
I'm
stuff.
not gonna do that.
When I was mayor, we had that issue. You had one clerk opening the mail, you just don't have the people. So a lot of that stuff does look serious, but I can assure you it is not. There are things in there that are pretty serious, that do
Yes.
need addressed, and we are going to look at that as a board.
So a lot of these systems, you know, they're automated. If someone has a credit card, so one of the recommendations by the state was, hey, if someone is using a credit card and not submitting a receipt, they should have disciplinary action. Well, of course, right? Like in any private company you work for, there are controls in place. There's a system that you use. There's a reconciliation that's taking place. So to say that we don't have enough employees, I mean, we
I
have,
invite you back when we have it on the agenda.
I would love that,
Listen-
yes.
Listen in on the meeting, see what.
Yes, I
see
would
what's
love that,
specific.
but what I'm specifically asking for is not just like, hey, we're addressing that, or we're acknowledging that there's these findings, but I would like to see the action items throughout the year. So there needs to be, a set goal, where someone owns the finding. In each department, who owns this finding, who's responsible for then resubmitting it to the state? Closure, like the policies and the procedures, the processes, we cannot just let this,
Yep.
because this is what happened last year.
Yeah, we're going way over the time, so I'm gonna have to
Are
stop
we?
here.
Okay,
So it will get addressed.
okay, thank you.
Next, we have Marilyn J. Menser.
I'm Marilyn J. Menser. I'm a candidate for District 15 House of Representatives. Over the past few months, I've sat in this room and wondered, how are we ever going to accomplish the hard things when Harrison County can't make the changes to do the small things? I believe Lori White just asked for some changes to do the small things. Today, I hope the Board of Supervisors takes time to clear their mind and remember why you decided to run for office. Most of us run for office because we want to make things better. Part of that is change. Are you making things better? You really need to ask yourself that. You asked for a report on how surrounding counties were doing things. It was provided. I have heard no changes regarding that report. The entire rotunda a few weeks ago was filled with people concerned about what ordinances were and not being followed by planning and zoning. I saw that. I have not seen any changes of enforcement of those ordinances. It's hard to hold people's feet to the fire. It's hard to do the right thing. I understand that. I've had my own business. I've been a director for companies. I had to fire my best friend because she could not do the hard things that I needed her to do because I worked with the public. I'm not asking for anyone to be fired, but I am asking the Board of Supervisors to start holding people's feet to the fire. The county needs to do three things. Follow their own county ordinances, follow Iowa code, and treat all people the same using the golden rule. It should be that simple. But egos and friendships have interfered with those three things in this county. How are we ever going to be able to accomplish the great things we can do in this county when you cannot even do simple things like posting public minutes the correct way, the way you have asked how other counties post them? How can you expect the public to respect you when you have officials working in this county who can't follow their own ordinances in Iowa code? And there's a lot of them. I'm not the paparazzi, but the public's been reaching out to me, and they have identified some very specific problems going on in this county. And I am asking you
We're at 3
to
minutes.
please start listening to the public and understanding, we want to see great things happen. They're not going to happen until you start doing the small things right.
Just another quick update. They are filing in court, I believe, this week on that 29 culvert
Really?
Soldier.
Okay. Do they still suspend work on that? Why
No,
does-
they went ahead and finished it, but they're wrapping it up now. But Keith is filing that this week.
Good. Drainage, I have not followed up with Don Brothers, and John Rosengram was supposed to call him, hopefully that's,
I thought, talking with John, I thought they had it
Okay,
taken care
good.
of. John said the contractor didn't mess up, got that stuff taken care of.
and he said he was gonna reach out and fill them in, so. Yep.
At some point, we need to look into do we have a policy in the county for RFPs?
RFPs, well, we have to follow the state policy on that.
Right,
I
there's a
thought-
threshold on dollar
Yeah.
amounts.
It's a state code we follow on that, we don't have much choice in that matter.
But everybody, I have,
And I don't know if we can do RFPs anymore, what's the word?
RFQs?
RFQs, yeah,
okay. Okay,
It's the same thing.
same thing, but it's just
Yeah,
not
it's the same
thing.
specific yet.
we just need to make sure that we're
Yeah,
following
and then
it.
there's another threshold that you have to go bid.
Yeah, mostly falls under county engineer, those kind of size contracts, yeah.
Mhm. But anybody over 6,000,
Yeah, what the code says, yeah.
yeah, has to get an RFP before they do anything over.
Well, we have to go out for bids, yes.
Yeah.
We'll also need to approve the minutes from October 9th.
So moved.
Second,
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Rebecca, did you have one other thing you wanted to talk about to sit after public comment?
no, that was what I wanted
Okay,
to talk about.
Perfect. If that concludes business for today.
I just think before we make any policies, we have to be very careful that we're not stifling.
No, and I would like to reiterate, anybody can call me anytime. 712-435-9375. Feel free to call me at any moment.
And Brad, I'm glad you called. I mean, I wish I would have asked more questions, I could have answered your questions, so.
I appreciate you guys, picking up the phone.
And to Kevin's point of not cluttering up the agenda, I get that. But we can always say, we're not gonna have time for this today, we're gonna put this on the future. Put it on the agenda, cross it out. Or if we feel like it's not, as a collective board, we feel like it's not appropriate this week, or we want more research done, we can always cross it off. But I guess I just feel like telling people no, I don't know, I just don't wanna limit the public. I mean, if we had started having a problem where we had 10 people call in 1 week, and, but I don't think we've ever had that
Well,
problem.
that would be up to sort through that and to see which one we really need to discuss. I mean, I get calls from some people that are not board things, that are things they need answers to, which, that's my job, to find the answer to that.
Right.
I put procedures in place with Lori. Lori let you know, I wanna see the audit on a future date. It was given to you as a collective board. You have assured her we're going to do that. She let you know what forum that she wanted it discussed. You folks heard it. It's going on the agenda.
I think
Small
they-
questions and general grievances, those are public comments. Make them larger as a whole if you want to.
I think the issue with Brad though is he was already on the agenda, and then it's quite jarring when you're already on the agenda to get a call from the county attorney. And then it makes it appear as if there's other things going on. And I think that's the point, is let's get away from appearances of things being on the shady side and follow a consistent process.
It's my job as the county attorney to ensure that specificity and chapter 20 is followed. So
And I
when the
appreciate
auditor
that.
has a question about that, then I will clarify. And
Yeah.
if that clarifying question requires me to reach out to the citizen
Yeah.
to get the specificity, I'm gonna need to do that, Lori.
No, I think that's great. I think you're doing your job. But what I'm saying is that probably should have been done before he was put on the agenda. Because then once it's on the agenda and you remove.
The agenda was published afterwards, so he was not
He was
placed
told he
on
was
the
put on the
agenda.
He was told he was put on the agenda. That's what I'm saying. There's just some
Right,
inconsistencies.
and I let him know in my phone conversation that general grievances
Yeah.
were appropriate for public comment. So I hope that that gap was filled. I think that there was certainly a disconnect in communication,
Yeah.
but it wasn't any person being nefarious.
It wasn't a grievance, it was a question about a policy.
But
Going away
also,
from what we need to do.
my, to that end, that would be great if the minutes reflected it. But last week's minutes, all they say is Marilyn Menser provided comments about concerns from citizens. It doesn't go into what she said. And so, it's okay to put people in public comment if we're a little more specific about what they said.
And you also have the ability to put Maryland's public comment on the agenda if it is something that you folks need to expand on.
But the public doesn't get the gist of what public comments say, unless we want them to, and then the public comments happen to get specific.
And then you'll have to balance the publication costs.
I checked on the publication costs. 8 point per line is 0.62, and I don't remember the last number for the charge to the political subdivision. I talked to the paper last week. I looked at some of the other meeting minutes that were posted, and they are far more extensive in their size than anything that this board has ever published since I've been paying attention. So I did check on that. It's 0.62 and another number per line at 8 point. It's
Yeah, I'm asking that, I have a public information board, I want the regulation. I want to see what we're supposed to put in there, and they're supposed to get that to me, so,
Chapter 21 and 22 have that on
yeah.
there.
And,
I'm sure that's what they're gonna send me.
349.18 A and B,
Yeah,
you
they're
want
probably gonna send
to
it to
look
me.
at that as well.
Right, that concludes business for today.
I have one last comment. We have to be careful not to, I want to say this. You have to be careful not to use Sarah to do the bidding of people that don't want something talked about.
Say that again so I understand that.
We have to be careful not to use Sarah to get something off the agenda just because somebody, it's, like I said in my speech, because it's uncomfortable or it's unwelcome. It still sometimes needs to be talked about. Just because an individual doesn't want it talked about.
Right, but I don't want to, once again, the chairman's got to ask that question to Sarah. Like for me, when I was chairman, I didn't know the answer, I would contact the county attorney, and that was Jennifer then. That's the best we can do.
That's fine, we just have to guard against
Yeah.
having Sarah find a reason why we can't.
I'm
put it
not
on the agenda.
gatekeeping your agenda, Rebecca.
What's that?
I'm not gatekeeping your agenda. I do have conversations with your chairperson.
No, that's fine.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Lori,
Yes, sir.
will you